Welcome to Analyzing Television. It's Entertainment Talks podcast for looking at different situations and topics in the world of television. I'm your host Matthew, and today I'm going to be talking about Disney Plus's strange reboot strategy. So essentially what I'm going to do here is look over the different announcements over a certain period of time and look at the reboots, sequels, prequels and spin-offs that Disney's got planned for its streaming service, Disney Plus, and just talk about, from my side, from the analysis side, how strange some of these choices are and kind of questioning why some of these are being created. I did talk about this a little bit, I think it was maybe 2 months ago or so, on Geektown, of course, Geektown.co.uk, Geektown Radio and podcast services for your TV and film news. I talked a little, I can't remember which reboot we talked about, but there was a reboot that was mentioned in the news episode for that episode, for that podcast, and I talked about like how strange it is that Disney's decided to reboot a bunch of different things, because when I look at what Disney's got access to, which is Disney itself, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and of course all of the various different Fox properties that they've got access to, some of these reboots you really don't need necessarily. And sure, there's reasons it's like, okay, it will make money at the end of the day, or it will probably make money at the end of the day, or maybe Disney will see that there's not as much risk tied to some of these reboots, simply because, you know, that they know that their Marvel and Star Wars and Disney and Pixar things, whether it's TV shows or films, will be 95% successful. You know, you look at the billions that they've made from Star Wars and Marvel, you look at the billions that they've made from Disney and Pixar, and of course Fox is a pretty new acquisition for them. So they're still going to be making loads of money on the properties that they've got, but it's just the strangeness of some of these reboots and just wondering as to why, and talking about, as the title says, this strange reboot strategy. So I've got an article here now. This is from a website called j14.com, which I've never heard of, but I've given this article a little sort of skim through, and most of the information seems to be fairly accurate, and for things I remember as well. I typed in Disney Plus reboots and it was one of the first things that came up. So I'm just going to read from their website, so if you go to j14.com you can check out the same thing. So, it says here, ever since Disney Plus first launched, fans have been streaming all their favourite throwback Disney Channel shows and movies along with the content from the network's past. Also comes the opportunity for the streaming service to create its own original series and films, which is exactly what they're doing, for the most part. From Night at the Museum to Cheap Up by the Dozen and even Lizzie McGuire and the Proud Family, there's a bunch of reboots, sequels and spin-offs in the works. There's certainly a lot of new content to look forward to, according to the streaming service's major announcements. In order to keep all the new releases on fans' radar, J14 decided to make a complete guide to all the upcoming reboots, sequels, spin-offs, prequels, whatever, and shows and movies headed to Disney Plus. Scroll through the gallery for everything you need to know, including the plot details, cast, etc., etc. Hi there, and thanks very much for listening. Today I'm here to tell you about our two different affiliate links, the first of which is our Amazon affiliate link. That's where you can shop on Amazon. We can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you anything extra. So whether you're getting a gift for somebody else or treating yourself, or maybe both depending on the occasion, we can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you extra. You can find the link to our Amazon affiliate link in your show notes. The second affiliate link for today is our Kualu affiliate link. If you want to get started with a website and a domain name of your choice, you can simply sign up with Kualu using the link in the show notes. They also have a live chat support system that's in the bottom right hand corner as well. So if you need help with getting set up, Kualu will be able to help you with that as well. The links for both of these can be found in your show notes for Kualu and the Amazon affiliate link. If you would like to get the ad-free versions of Entertainment Talks podcast and support us along the way, you can simply sign up over on our Patreon page. You can sign up either as a creator or as a patron. There's no difference there for the time being. And you can get your ad-free podcasts over there. It's a great way to support us on Entertainment Talk and to get rid of the ads and get your ad-free podcasts You can also support Entertainment Talk on Patreon at the $3 level tier. This gets you a chance to request a review from us of your favourite TV show or film, but it's one per month, so one TV show or film review per month. It's up to you which one you want to choose. We will watch a few episodes of the TV show that you choose, or of course if it's a film, we'll just watch that film and we will review that for you on that month. And then when it gets to the next month, you can request a new TV show or a film review of your choice. That's $3 level tier. That does also of course include your ad-free podcasts for the month as well. Thank you very much for listening and enjoy the rest of the show. So the first one that we've got listed here is 3 Men and a Baby. It doesn't have the cast listed here. It's got like an extended article to look at the... Zac Efron, yes. So, 3 Men and a Baby is going to be getting rebooted by Disney+. This is, I believe, a film. Now, you might be kind of wondering, okay, you're doing an analysing television podcast, why are you talking about films? There's kind of films and TV mixed in, but I just wanted to talk about this in general and kind of do it as an analysing television episode. So 3 Men and a Baby reboot. Now me myself, I'm not even particularly familiar with what this is. I've seen the picture that's shown here. I've seen that listed before. I don't really know anything about the film, but as I mentioned a minute ago, when you've got access to Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, Fox, and access to a lot of properties, do you need to reboot 3 Men and a Baby? Because I don't necessarily think that you do. And there's always the argument, about certain classics. Now, I don't know how classic some people would consider 3 Men and a Baby to be. Of course, Zac Efron is a big star, so that's going to be a big sort of attraction for this particular film. So Zac Efron is returning to his Disney roots in the upcoming 3 Men and a Baby reboot, The Hollywood Reporter announced in August 2020. That might have been the Geektown episode that I was on in August. I can't quite remember, but it was one of those things. Yeah, it's very bizarre to me that Disney would decide to do this. And I get it, it might sort of be like, okay, we've literally got billions of dollars and kind of someone at Disney has come up with the idea of, I've got an idea for 3 Men and a Baby reboot and Zac Efron's a big star, we could put him in there. And maybe it's just a situation where it's like, okay, let's just throw it on the pile of things to come for Disney+. Because even though I did mention Star Wars and Marvel, which are two of their kind of biggest things, there is a lot of Marvel MCU shows coming up. There is quite a few of them. We're about to get the first 2, which is, I believe, Falcon and Winter Soldier. But first of course, is going to be WandaVision debuting in January, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier is supposed to be after that. You've got Loki and Miss Marvel and Moon Knight. I could go on and on and list them all. Loki, of course, is going to be coming. The What If series as well. So they don't have a lack of Marvel things in development. You've obviously got Mandalorian, which is going to keep going. You've got the Obi-Wan series, which is going to be coming out soon. You've got the Cassian Andor series coming out to Disney Plus, which is going to be the Rogue One prequel. There's some other things that you could probably do as well. Of course, they just had Clone Wars and Rebels kind of finish and stuff, so they've got plenty going on in terms of things that they already kind of had access to. But it's just this weird kind of these weird choices of their previous library, like 3 Men and a Baby reboot, that's just a little bit strange. That's the first one. Hocus Pocus sequel is the second. Over the past few years, rumours about a possible Hocus Pocus 2 have been swirling, especially after Disney released the novels Hocus Pocus and the all-new sequel in 2018 to celebrate the film's 25th anniversary. Even though details about bringing the witches back have been kept under wraps, Variety confirmed in March 2020 that a sequel will be coming to Disney Plus in the near future. Although no cast has been announced yet, which is an interesting point, the original stars have still shared their excitement about possibly returning to their iconic roles for another film. Hocus Pocus I know a little bit more about. I've seen parts of it. I don't know anything about the actual. I couldn't tell you who the characters were, who the cast is, what the story's about. I couldn't tell you anything about that. Interesting point here about the original cast, because this is not a reboot or a prequel. Now, with a prequel or a reboot, you can potentially have some different characters, because you could have the people before the story, or if you're doing a reboot, you could just have new characters, or whatever the case may be. What's interesting to me here with the sequel is that the OG original stars shared their excitement about a possibility of returning to the iconic role of the films. So if you're going to essentially revive this franchise, I don't know how much of a franchise it kind of became. I don't know if there's like TV spin-offs or whatever. There probably isn't like a video game or whatever. I know that it says that there's a novel here, and then there's the films and everything, and something was released in 2018. If you're doing a sequel, and I'm assuming these three characters survived because they could have died, I don't know what happens, but given that there's the possibility for the original stars to come back, it's interesting that that isn't the immediate thing that's kind of been announced. So if you do actually do a sequel and you don't have the original cast coming back, you're either going to have new characters, or you're going to have recast or new characters, essentially. Or you could have like the characters' kids, if they have kids in the off-screen meantime. I don't know. But again, just a bit of a strange choice. Hocus Pocus is one that, for the people that have seen it, I know that they quite enjoyed it. I don't know how they would feel about a sequel, but again, it kind of goes back to that classic thing of you should just leave certain things alone, because the originals did really well, but I don't know. So we'll see. That's another particularly strange choice. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is the next one. I don't know how many are listed here, but I'm going to keep going for a little bit of time. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids Reboot. So just bear in mind what each of these actually are. You had a sequel to Hocus Pocus. Now you got a reboot of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And for the most part, reboots go down worse than what sequels tend to do, because reboots can really hurt. Like if you recast the characters, or if you bring in new characters, it can kind of hurt the original story that you've tried to do. Like if you try to do a new version of the old story, sometimes that just doesn't work out so well. Whereas if you have something like Ghostbusters, the upcoming thing for that, they've got new characters in, but they've also got some returning characters as well. So that's a situation where a long-awaited sequel can work a lot better than a reboot. And some things to me are kind of reboot proof. Like if you take something like Back to the Future or Only Fools and Horses, you're never going to get a successful reboot out of those. Like if you looked at someone like Del Boy, played by David Jason, of course, nobody else could do that role. Nobody else really. So there's certain situations. But for the first time since 1997, Hollywood legend Rick Moranis will reprise his iconic role as the Wayne something. I'm not going to try to pronounce his surname. The scientist who accidentally shrunk his children in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Although plot details about the upcoming reboot called Shrunk, so they've actually kind of renamed it a little bit, I don't think that's a very good choice of a name, are being kept under wraps for now. It was reported by Deadline that Frozen star Josh Gad will be taking on the role of Wayne's son in the film. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, Josh Gad's a good actor and all that. I like him as Olaf and whoever he plays in Central Park. Can't remember the name's character from Apple TV Plus. Yeah, so you've got a reboot listed here, but you've also got potential Rick Moranis coming back as Wayne, and then Josh Gad will be playing his son. Again, I don't know anything about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I've seen bits and pieces of it again, but I've never properly sat down and watched it. Another just strange choice, I think. And this does sound a little bit more like a sequel than an actual reboot. I don't know, given you've got returning members and then there's like the son there. I don't know, it's just strange. How many more have we got here? Alright, I'm just gonna list the next couple. So you've got the Mighty Ducks reboot, 10 episode series, Turner and Hooch, 12 episode series, Monsters Inc. spin-off. Now that one I am looking forward to, Monsters Inc. spin-off. I've been looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with that. Set to premiere in spring 2021. We'll see if that definitely happens. They've got kind of the COVID advantage with that because it's going to be animated, so there's no sort of filming restrictions. So that's good. Percy Jackson remake. Robin Hood reboot, Doogie Howser reboot. I just Beauty and the Beast prequel, Lizzie McGuire reboot, The Proud Family reboot, Night at the Museum reboot, Home Alone reboot, Cheaper by the Dozen reboot. Is the CEO of Disney just sitting next to the reboot button and just hitting it over and over again? This reminds me of a skit that me and Robert did a few weeks ago. It was called the Hollywood Reboot. It was like a minute-long little sort of fun skit, and it was called the Hollywood Reboot. And it was kind of making fun of executives that sit there and just sort of want everything rebooted. I've just read out 4 or 5 different examples of things that have been rebooted. You just don't need to do it necessarily. It's just very strange. I really find it very peculiar and very strange, but very interesting as well. But like I said, I think with the reboots particularly, because sequels, fair enough, like revivals, like this Lizzie McGuire thing's got some interesting ideas from what I've heard. But just sitting there and just reboot. When you've got access to the amount of properties that Disney's got, Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, and a whole bunch of things that come with Fox. I could sit here and list 20, 30 things that they've now got access to with Fox. You don't need to go back and reboot a bunch of stuff. You could just make new things. I think one of the biggest advantages that they've taken with Disney Plus is because now you've got the opportunity to basically make TV shows look like films in terms of budget and quality and all that, and that's kind of how The Mandalorian's ended up, sort of like a really long film budget type of TV show. And I know that they've got, like I said, a lot of Marvel, a lot of Star Wars TV shows in development. It's sort of like, okay, we've got the money to do these extra things, these little reboots. If they don't work out, it doesn't matter, because we've got Star Wars and Marvel that are making us billions. Not just from TV shows and films, but merchandise. I'm sure there's loads of you that went out and brought a Baby Yoda. I want to get one myself. But yeah, like look at the if you look at the scale of Disney, right, and the amount of things that they own, look at just from The Mandalorian alone, from a Disney Plus perspective, how much of a success that's been. Baby Yoda's taken off as a very, very popular character. The Mandalorian himself is really, really liked by a lot of people. There's, a lot of curiosity about his character and the sort of creed about not being able to, the code of not being able to take his helmet off, and Baby Yoda's cute, and they're kind of partners and all that. And the show's done really, really well. It got nominated for an Emmy for Best Drama, which is the highest thing that you can get nominated for a TV show. It didn't win, but it still got nominated. And then, yeah, the Baby Yoda, all the different toys for that have come out, and you can go and get Mandalorian toys and everything. That's just from The Mandalorian. That's not from anything Marvel related. But yet, for some reason, they're going reboot for all these different sorts of things. Yeah, it's just kind of peculiar to me as to why if I'm to analyze the situation, I think it's just somebody at Disney who's said, hey, we have all these Marvel and Star Wars things, Disney, Pixar, that are making us billions, but just sort of chuck all these reboots onto the pile. If it's sort of like, okay, throw it at the wall, if it sticks, cool. If it doesn't, we can just move on to the next thing. And I don't think there'll be any massive consequence for this. Like, if these things are successful or not, because you've still got the Star Wars, Marvel, Disney, Pixar, and all the Fox properties. I mean, for those of you that potentially don't know, with the Fox acquisition, not just with the Fox acquisition, but including that, they have got Disney Plus, they've got the films, which I know, COVID cinema not really open at the moment, but they've got Disney Plus, Fox, Freeform, ABC, FX, Hulu, and ESPN. All of those channels, I know ESPN's just for sports and the other are all for TV and stuff. Disney owns all of those things. So all of the shows that run through all of those, Disney Plus, Hulu, Fox, ABC, Freeform, what was the other one that I've forgot to mention? FX, Hulu, ABC, Freeform, Disney Plus, I've forgotten whatever the sixth one was, but you get my point that there's so many TV revenue streams for them that you just don't need these reboots. So yeah, it's rather strange to me, but interesting. I'm curious about it and very curious to see how it all works out. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I don't want to go and sit through all of the different lists of things and go into too much detail, otherwise I'll be here for 4 hours. But yeah, what do you make of this interesting situation? Do you think that, like I said, it won't really have, whether these reboots, revivals, sequels, whatever, mainly the reboots, do you think that if those aren't successful, it will affect Disney too much? Because I don't really think it will at the end of the day. But what do you think of their strange kind of strategy, given the amount of properties that they own, and they're rebooting Three Men and a Baby? Very, very strange. Let me know all your thoughts, feelings, questions, comments about Disney Plus and this particular situation, or anything related to Entertainment Talk. Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK. There's a contact page and information in your show notes. Very curious to see how this works out. Because in terms of other remakes as well, like the live action ones, those have had very mixed results as well. Some of them people really liked, some of them people didn't, and some of them just had mixed reviews anyway. So again, I just think it's, okay, we've got billions, let's just throw these reboots at the wall. If they don't stick, fine, move on. If they do, then we'll keep doing more of them. We'll probably just do more of them anyway, because we've got the disposable income to really do so. I know that they've lost a lot of money from the parks and that, but Disney's still got a heck of a lot of money. And just think, when you think about Disney and budget and stuff, all those different channels I just mentioned, I know I forgot what the last one was, but there's 6 of them, and they've always got TV shows coming through and all that sort of thing. So Disney have got quite a lot indeed. So we'll see how it works out. But anyway, that was all I wanted to really cover today on this episode of Analyzing Television. By the way, I did have done 2 episodes of these today. The other one was talking about season and episode lengths. What's the ideal length for a season and an episode for a TV show? How does that affect the pacing and structure and all sorts of other things related to that? And also comparing different shows being run differently for the different episode lengths and season lengths and things like that. So you can check that out as well. I also do bring up Mandalorian in that podcast as an example. But if you like what you've heard today and you want to hear more, you can of course head over to entertainmenttalk.org. Check out all the other podcasts that we've got. Search for Entertainment Talk on podcast platforms for our coverage of TV, video games, films, and Manchester United as well, of course. If you like what you've heard and you want to support it, get involved and all that, and also check out entertainmenttalk.org. We are on Patreon. You can look on there, the Patreon page, the $1 and $3 level tiers for ad-free podcast and review options. Word of mouth, you can simply tell people that you know about the website, the iTunes feeds, if you think that they might be interested in some of this content, or just tell them anyway. That would be cool. Social media, Facebook and Twitter and different Facebook groups, or whatever you use these days, please share them through that as well. Speaking of TV and film news, which we very much covered today, if you would like your up-to-date, reliable TV and film news, David, of course, as I mentioned earlier, runs geektown.co.uk. If you search for that, go on that website, you can get your up-to-date, reliable TV and film news. If you'd like that in weekly podcast format, you can search for Geektown on podcast services and get your Geektown radio episodes on Tuesdays, so get involved with all that over on Geektown. Over on Twitch, if you search for Trista Bytes, you can find Beck streaming daily, doing fun, interesting, cool stuff over there, so go and support her, go and subscribe over there, follow her, and check out what she's got. I stream not quite daily, but quite often at the moment, more often than what I ever have, over on Twitch. If you search for eTalkUK, I'm streaming lots of different video games, Walking Dead, Batman, which I've finished the Batman Arkham VR thing, that's on YouTube, Crash Bandicoot eventually, Last of Us 2 eventually, Pez Master League, and I started Watch Dogs Legion yesterday as well. Those episodes should be on YouTube as well. So, and also look out for Let's Play Sundays. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Goodbye.